Hello Namibia, and welcome to your daily lunchtime show where we get to catch up on current events and headlines that are in the news. I am your host Priska Anyolo, and thank you so much for joining us today on NMH at 1. So do stay tuned as we bring you some breaking news from Katima Mulilo, where a devastating fire wreaked havoc in the business district of the northern border town. The ShopRite went up in flames, while a fire truck was also severely damaged. As you can see, we already put a few snapshots of our COVID-19 monitor, so let's get right into it. Zooming in on quarantine data for Namibia's different regions as part of efforts to curb COVID-19. After recording a record high of 2,320 people housed in government facilities last Tuesday, this number a week later decreased to 1,777. More than 1,200 persons were discharged over this period, slightly more than the 1,172 entries. Significantly, the Karas and Irogo regions have not recorded any exits for respectively 20 and 19 consecutive days. With 1,128 people in quarantine, Oshikoto leads the table. In this region, discharges have however surpassed new entries, with 856 people released from isolation compared to 643 starting their time in quarantine. The capital city of Windhoek only had 6 persons with quarantine, but this figure, as for other regions, excludes home-based self-isolation. Other major changes occurred in the Kunene region, where 104 entries were reported, and in Omaheke, showing more than 230 entries and exits. By Wednesday, the national total climbed slightly to 1,784, following another 156 entries and 149 exits. Our first video insert for today. A fire that broke out early this morning destroyed the ShopRite building in Katima Mulilo. Indications are that the fire originated in the roof of Pep stores and spread to Grocer. Hungry Lion and Clicks were also affected within the complex. The cause of the fire and the total damage caused has not yet been identified. Making matters worse, we have received video confirmation that one of Katima's fire engines was gutted while trying to extinguish the fire. These clips were contributed.
Ine jone vo mulo atanga kwa pepo. Jona sa
Ha. Efatra que algo kuzimisa umuri hapende yoyoka yale haha.
Bazvile chwari mwateni.
Mute bana.
Nevakeni mwahari.
Ah. Nje problem yokutotene noja yako na training, noja yako na training firefighter.
Vacha
Mwave abahabo mina, mwabona problem.
For our second video. Mid-2020, the idea was born to renovate the Ovaherero Commando Hall in Katutura. Reirua Komaheke is the man behind the plan, fundraising and physical work. He spoke to Republicans reporter Tanya Bowser.
For now, I'm rendered for free as a project coordinator on this commando renovation, a project that we have started already last year, July. So my job here is to make sure that there's money or there's material or there are volunteers continuing or all put together. That's what my job is here.
The money for this renovation project, where does that come from?
The money is coming from anybody who's worried about or who was worried about the look of the commando, number one. Number two, the money is coming from those who like the look of the commando now, as it stands. And number three, the money comes from the people who realize that together we can pull rightly in the right direction.
And people just contributed money and just for upliftment of the whole project.
Yeah, people. Let me give you three categories. One category was people locally. Category number two was people from the United States. Number three, it was a category of people coming from United Kingdom. Oh yeah, number four, people from Canada. All these people felt that what is happening here is for a good cause, is for them, is for the preservation of the commando culture, and the place must look like what late Ombaraho Kutako wanted it to look like if he was alive. So this is an imagination that we're using, that if he was alive, he would want to have it look like this, and therefore the people in those areas, even in Botswana, even in South Africa, the overhead in Botswana and South Africa also made a contribution. So they agreed that if Hosea Kutako was alive, he would want to see this place looking like.
What have you done so far to the commando hall?
We have painted the fence. We have painted inside, outside of the fence. We have painted everything that is metal here. We have painted even the roof. We have done the floor. We redid the floor. A young man with the name Benson Aruka came on board and chased us out of the wall. He said, I want to do the floor with my own money, with my own laborers, and please get out. So we got out, he did the floor, and then we went ahead, we did the interlocking. We interlocked the place, we put garden rocks around the place. We did what they call alubabel. We put alubabel in the roof, which is for insulation purposes because of temperatures. We did even landscaping on the behind me and the other side. Let us opposite, you'll be able to see that we did landscaping. We planted seed, planted grass, and we did garden paving. And I want to be estimating and say this far we have spent there $117,000 roughly, but the bigger portion of this money was used for the maintenance of the volunteers, because everybody who did work here, they volunteered their time. So basically we did a project with a zero budget, but with enormous commitment from both the contributors as well as the volunteers. So outside where I'm talking about, we're going to have shades, and that is exactly where we need IBRs for the roofing, and the little that's left is it's for the final touches of the venue, because my sanguine hope is that if I get Bank Venuk on board for the doors, and if I got somebody else for at least $17,000, then I'll be able to hand over this place on the 20th of March to the owners. Owners, I mean the people who are running it as a management team. So we need only about $17,000, then we'll be sorted.
What must people do if they still want to donate to this cause?
Oh yes, if there are people who have money that they don't know what to do with it, we found a way how to make sure that their money is spent for what we want done here. We opened a upfront cash account at Pub Kivets. If you have a Pub Kivets FNB account, which I will give, the reference should read C2-1996. C2-1996. That is the number they gave us for everybody who would like to make a contribution.
Thank you so much.
Anytime.
Christo Boshoff of Windhoek Afrikaanse Privaat School is the top academic performer in the country in last year's IEB examinations. Here he shares his recipe for success and encourages this year's grade 11 and grade 12 learners. This clip was submitted by Maricel Stoffberg.
Well, I was a learner at Windhoek Afrikaanse Privaat School, and I was the Namibian top performer for IEB schools in 2020. The year, as I presume, as for the rest of you, 2020 was a very weird year. We had to adapt a lot to new circumstances, but we all made it through, and now we are ready for a new chapter. I'm guessing a lot of grade 11s and 12s that are coming to the end of their school career are really afraid, especially with this weird circumstances and just for the year in a whole, because it is hard. I just want to tell you, have a lot of hope and just keep on going. If you give everything the entire time, you will make a big success, and set goals for yourself and really work hard to achieve those goals, because we all are capable of doing amazing things.
Leading the print news in Namibia today. The Namibian Sun leads with the story of two prominent local lawyers once again being forced on the defense following a government report that suggested the trust account of their joint law firm at the time was used as a personal account for Kobe Alexander. Alexander is an Israeli-American businessman who fled to the USA to live in Namibia for a decade to avoid facing fraud charges. In the Republican's lead story, Namibia's proposed rollout plan of COVID-19 immunization has been praised as one of the best in the world and an example to countries who have not yet finalized their plans. It also contains a summary of the national COVID regulations updated yesterday. Allgemeine Zeitung leads with the fact that this year's independence celebrations have been cancelled as part of the announcement of the latest measures to combat the pandemic. Namibia will also receive its first vaccine doses next month, according to the announcement. Today's New Era leads with President Hage Geingoob's address to the nation yesterday, and specifically his confirmation of Cabinet's final decision to continue with plans to file for voluntary liquidation of the national airline, which he called unsustainable. The Namibian also reports on President Hage Geingoob's comments yesterday on the decision to liquidate Air Namibia. The head of state said that the decision was taken by Cabinet collectively following thorough debate and not by individual ministers. Confidante reveals that the recently inaugurated Council of the City of Windhoek has taken a deliberate move to review some decisions that were made by the recently departed council, including the appointment of Deputy Chief of the City Police, Levi Shivolo Ileka. Resolutions under the spotlight also extend to alleged corrupt and irregular decisions by some individuals. From inside the daily newspapers. MarketWatch reports that a massive plunge in its policy perception score has cost Namibia its spot among the top 5 African countries for mining companies to invest in. The Namibian Sun conveys the message of the Namibian police in the Oshana region, warning the public not to take the law into their own hands. This comes after a suspected burglar was beaten to death by a mob of angry villagers near Oshakati earlier this week. Republican reports on the accident at Naute Dam in the far south, where an unlicensed driver of a tractor lost control and overturned the trailer. A total of 67 workers of the Namibian Industrial Development Agency, also known as NIDA, suffered injuries, and a number of them were taken to the Keetmanshoop Hospital. According to Allgemeine Zeitung, the United Nations Development Programme has released a report for 2020 stating that Namibia has made progress over the previous 12 months, although the country still experiences high levels of widespread inequality. The Namibian quotes the executive director saying that the Ministry of Health and Social Service overspent its COVID-19 emergency budget by about 50 million Namibian dollars over the past year. This contradicts the amounts announced by the executive director and the minister on earlier occasions. Meanwhile, New Era reports that Education Minister Anangi Pondoka pleaded with parents not to visit their children in boarding schools unnecessarily, based on a surge in positive corona cases, especially in learners in boarding schools. And that is it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Do have a nice day and goodbye from me, Priska Agnolo. And do stay tuned for a snapshot of today and tomorrow's weather as well.